Live.
Oh, we're live.
We're
We're
finally
alive. Woohoo!
resurrected from
Yay!
sort of dead. Hi, everybody. Hey, typical A.M.O.K fashion. We had some issues at the beginning, but we're on. We're good to go. It is my turn, and I get to choose to get to my choice. My choice with Jason. And say hi, Jason.
Hey,
Hi,
Jason.
Hi,
Jason.
Jason. Hey, yeah. First off, we're going to start off in the Wayback Machine. All right, before time began. No, actually not. Maybe not that far back. You're a veteran, correct, sir?
Yes, sir. United States Air Force.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Awesome. I was an aircraft machinist and welder, metals technology.
Yeah. What does that mean? You flew planes? You're in the Air
No,
Force. You flew planes?
didn't fly the planes. I kept them in the air.
See,
Oh,
every
awesome.
day people find out that I'm in the Air Force. They're like, "You flew planes?" I'm like, "No, I'm an X-ray tech, man." But yeah,
So were you on those planes when you were a mechanic, or whatever job you had, or did you?
I've been in them and on them. I've never been in the air with them, but I've been. The B-1 bomber was the plane I worked on the most, and that's the one I was inside and on the most.
Wow. Okay.
and they're cool.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know if maybe had to hang on the side of it while they were
No, he got
flying
on he got on one of those creepers on his back and had to roll up underneath it.
Well, okay, gotcha.
No, just yeah, I just like
No,
to
thank
point
you for
out.
your service.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Absolutely.
I always like to point out the veterans. It's always great. It's cool to have you. I know that we've known each other since 2013, when we first met each other. And I don't know. Do you remember that?
I didn't know it was 2013. See,
Yeah,
we found a brain cell.
yeah. 2013, we met at the in Springfield at the Ozark Paracon at the
At the
shrine.
Shriners?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We sat at the table with Keith Age and started and tried to be nice.
You mean try to
Well,
behave?
I had actually forgot about
We tried to behave, but I don't know what a have is, so it's hard to be one.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
forgot about that event until you just said that.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I said today will be therapy, but no, it was good times. I know that's when we first met you. It's also the first time I ever had Cadoba. So and I have fond memories of Cadoba. I love food. Anyhow, no. So the reason why I bring that up is because I know that's not where you're at right now, but back then, you're a paranormal investigator. You're not currently doing paranormal investigations, correct?
Currently, I'm not doing much of anything.
Not much anything. Sitting there. Yeah. So that was Paranormal Studies of Arkansas.
Yes, PSA.
Yeah. And when did you start that team? Do you remember?
2007.
2007. So you started your team about the same time we started ours. We started ours in 2006. But you're
Yeah.
up there. You're up there in Nowheresville, right?
Yellville.
Yeah. That's what I said. And I've been to Yellville once. Blew through it.
It's easy to do.
There's not much there. So what'd you do as an investigator? How did you go about? I mean, were you doing local homes, or were you having to travel a lot and come down to?
We started out doing local homes. I actually called in the first investigation I worked on. I called in another team, Arkansas Paranormal Investigations (API).
Mm-hmm.
I was friends with Alan on that team, and I had him come in because he had more equipment than I did, and I didn't want to show up and not look professional. And at that time, I know we were, like a lot of teams were, we were just trying to mimic what the TV show Ghost Hunters was doing when they started in 2005.
Yeah.
Had to have all their gadgets and do all their procedures. But then when you go around and you tell people that you're a ghost hunter, you get that look, like you get that side eye, like, say what?
You say what?
Are you crazy? And technically now I am. I have documentation. But I decided to kind of change up how we were doing things, and we started monitoring a lot of environmental factors that people weren't thinking about.
Yeah.
And at one time, I can't tell you what they are now, but at one time I was monitoring 88 different parameters involving the weather, whether it was local weather or cosmic. There was all kinds of things that I was keeping logs on. There might be a reason why I lost a few brain cells, but we started calling ourselves anomalous environmental studies analyst, and then people didn't look at us like we were absolutely nuts.
Now this is back in the MySpace days.
Yes.
Yes, I remember because see, we knew each other online before we met each other, like a lot of us do. And
It's funny because while we were in the waiting room, I was making myself notes on what I could remember. MySpace came up because I actually was one of the first teams to live stream multiple camera views, an investigation, and I did it on MySpace. I don't even
yeah.
know if MySpace is
Wow.
still around.
But see, I remember all that because I know you're logging stuff, and I say, oh, like, this guy here is actually doing some scientific stuff, and I thought that was cool because a lot of people weren't paying attention to the humidity levels and the lunar cycles and all that stuff because they're like, oh, well, I'm scientific because I'm using this machine, but they never even read the manuals. So
Exactly.
so I was like, is that a false positive? And they said, a what? What does that mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a positive.
if you don't know the lingo, don't say you're scientific. And but yeah, you caught my attention doing that stuff because I am a diagnostic professional. I tried to put more diagnostic I don't know, foundation to my hunt. So yeah, so I thought that was cool. So we got to meet each other, like I said, finally in 2013. We'd known each other online a little bit for a few years before that. So that was pretty cool. So what do you
I
go
was
ahead?
going to say something and it went right out my head.
So did
It's all
you?
right. You got an excuse. We'll get into that here in a minute. So,
I don't know if you're coming into it or not, Adrian, but when on that research that you were doing and documentation, did you eventually find some correlations?
you know, the only correlation that I found was when there was a heavy static in the air, like in springtime and the fall when the storms would come in. The only time that I've ever seen any changes to paranormal activity. I have noticed that when it's super hot, activity goes way down, and that's everything that I found. But I wasn't data logging as much as Jason was, and there's a couple other people that were really big at doing that stuff. I didn't have the equipment, and I had a wife who's like, "You don't need that." And Jason's wife never said that to him.
Nope,
No.
she encouraged me.
That's cool.
So Jason, did you find any correlations?
Not any correlations as far as paranormal would go, but my research led to other things based on reports of around the state. I could predict within about 85% accuracy when an earthquake was going to happen within 150 miles.
Wow.
Interesting.
And I contacted the USGS on that, and of course, when they found out how I was getting my information, they didn't even want to talk to me. But if I used to be networked with Adrian's team and Alan's team, and there was at one time I think there was 12 or 13 teams in the state of Arkansas. And every couple of weeks, I just go around and I would check with everybody because for a while there, it got really competitive. People didn't want you in their backyard; they wanted to do their investigation.
Oh.
Yes.
So I would, and that still applies. I don't know if it's an Arkansas thing or what, but in
No,
film,
it's everywhere.
it
It's
also
everywhere.
it's in everywhere. Yeah. Facebook pages, people get into arguments. Well, I know more than you. I've seen Bigfoot. That's not what he looks like. You'll hear it all.
Yet
And
they'll say they're scientific.
Yeah,
No.
clicks are prevalent everywhere.
yeah, everywhere.
Well,
But
you did.
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I would contact everybody and just to see if they had noticed an increase in reports from their area, from their website, who's reporting what. And then I would start plugging everything into my spreadsheets, and within a 7-day period, there would be an earthquake of a 1.5 magnitude or less within 150 miles of where the reports were at. So that told me that the Earth is emitting an energy that is not yet detectable, that are some people's brains, not everybody's, but some people's brains are detecting. It is causing them to, what I narrowed it down to, was to temporarily hallucinate for 5 seconds, for 5 minutes, however long the duration was, and they thought they were seeing something that wasn't even there.
Interesting.
So you did when did you back off your paranormal investigating? Because you kind of backed off the paranormal investigation, then got more into doing your oddities, and you're doing conferences and stuff like that, like you're selling stuff. I bought some of your stuff. I still have your 2017 cryptid coin here, Sasquatch dollar right here. So you're doing that stuff, but yeah. So you started you backed off doing investigation because investigation started getting sketchy.
Well, yeah, I backed off from the investigations because people are absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And when you have people call you and tell you that they have voices in their head that tell them to kill their family members,
Yeah.
and you talk it over with the rest of your team, and they're like, we need to notify somebody. This is not right. This was in North Little Rock.
Yeah, that's not paranormal. That's psycho. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had a team here and they couldn't find anything. And, we want you guys to come in. Well, I'm not going to come in and get shot or stabbed. So, no.
And actually, that's kind of what Tina thought when we pulled away from doing a lot of investigation, started being a little more selective, because she's like, there are all those reports of first responders being called out to homes and then getting shot. And she said if they'll do that to firefighters and paramedics and cops, they'll definitely do it to paranormal investigators, because who are we, right?
Especially if you don't find anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's lots of people that get upset when you don't find anything.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
want the validation that they're not crazy. They want you to find something. And when you come back and hey, I spent 12 hours here and I've got nothing. They just not want to hear it.
Which is why a lot of teams are really big on pushing orb photos, because hey, look, I caught a picture of an orb there, and therefore you're haunted, and that makes people happy. Look, I got to go and they frame that picture. No,
I had a guy send me photos. It was an old building, so automatically you're going to have dust. He said he would walk through with his camera, and then he'd turn around real quick to surprise the ghost to get their picture, and then he'd have all these orbs in there. And I'm like, you're not. If there's a ghost present, you're not going to scare it. It knows what you're going to do before you do.
Boo. No, so I know that you also, after that point, you moved towards you started getting into your doing production and stuff like that. You started working and
yeah, one of the conferences that I went to down in Texas, there was a lady that had been working on a film and she couldn't get it right. They spent almost $100,000 to do this movie. It's current. The last time I checked, it was still on Amazon Prime. It's called Skookum: The Hunt for Bigfoot. And I told her I know how to edit, and she handed everything to me, all the hard drives. She's like, "Can you fix this movie?" Well, you can only do so much with what you're provided with. I did the best I could. It took me a couple of months, but it's good enough to be on YouTube or on Amazon Prime, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. You got as long as you have a credit on something, it's like woohoo, that's cool. So you started. So that actually lit a fire for you to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many projects have you been involved in?
Big or small?
Well, projects in
Both.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
both.
there's a gentleman that runs. He does a lot of documentaries called Small Town Monsters, which I haven't actually worked on his productions. I worked on his podcast that he has.
Uh-huh.
He wanted he needed some special effects added for voice and stuff for their YouTube channel, so I did all that for him. But
Cool.
I probably did 20 episodes of those for him, and we kind of jumped ahead a little bit. Prior to me getting into video production, I was actually involved with a radio program called Haunted Voices Radio based out of Illinois.
Yeah, I know
And
how
if,
to voice it.
and if anybody ever listened to that show, I am JD. I'm the one that did a lot of the commercials, I did the intros for the show. I started out doing audio production, and then somehow now I'm in video production and dealing with, more Arkansas drama.
Who'd you work with out there in Illinois on this?
Todd Bates.
Todd
He,
Bates?
Todd
yeah,
Bates, the Haunted Voices Radio. Yeah.
Okay. I was just
Ken, have
curious.
you not heard of Todd Bates?
I have now.
Yeah.
he's probably watching right now.
Well, I was kind of curious because I do a lot of work over in Illinois. I'm in the
What?
St. Louis area.
He
But I was
does
just curious.
Haunted Voices Radio. It's just been around for a while. So, but that's all right. That's okay. That's cool. So
Well, I
let's.
learned something new. There you go.
Yeah.
Woohoo! That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and hit that point. 2 years ago, you're having a great time. You and your wife are headed down to Vegas. What
Yep.
happened?
We were going to Vegas. My 50th birthday was on March 15th, which is coming up again at the end of the week.
Hmm.
So I was 49 and we flew out to Las Vegas, and I was actually going out to help promote another film that I just got done working on called Voorhees Night of the Beast,
Yeah.
which is a Jason fan film versus Bigfoot because I like Bigfoot. And we flew out there, we got off the plane, we checked into the hotel, we stayed at the Golden Nugget and seen this great big huge Golden Nugget that I absolutely fell in love with. And we walked down Fremont Street to go get some food. We'd been in town for 1 hour and I collapsed. I lost control of half of my body. I couldn't speak correctly. I wound up having what's called a hemorrhagic stroke, which is basically a blood vessel on this side of my head blew out and I lost my left side. But as you can see, 2 years of hard work, I can do things again, but it's not like it was prior to having the stroke. And I cracked the joke earlier, and I cracked the joke a lot. There's a lot of things I find randomly throughout the day that I have forgotten about my past because the last CT scan that I saw where the stroke actually happened at, what I did not realize is where blood touches gray matter in your brain, it kills it instantly. So I had
Yeah.
a void in my head about the size of a hard-boiled egg on this side of my head that my body absorbed.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's filling back in, but I seem to be functioning okay without it. So I've just lost a few memories.
But I know you were stuck out there for quite some time because you weren't able to fly, right? Somebody had to come out there and get you.
They would
remember-
not. They would not let me fly. We had to have somebody go to the airport because I flew out of Fayetteville, and or I can't remember the name of the town above Fayetteville. Starts with a B. Bentonville. We flew out of the airport over there, and I had to have somebody from Arkansas get our car and drive out. Never even met the man before. He was a friend of mine, out of Branson, and he offered, because he has a place that he stays at out there, he timeshares. He's like, I love coming to Vegas. I'll come get you guys. So he drove our car, picked us up, and drove us back.
Yeah, I remember that because I was in a time frame that I could afford the time to go and go get you, and I was really frustrated because that's the kind of guy I am. I wanted to help in that point and I couldn't, and just
I wouldn't
still
have,
kind
I
of bothered
wouldn't,
by
I wouldn't have told you no.
it.
It was very stressful,
Well,
and
at
it
least
was
I'm a medic.
very expensive for my wife, to stay in town, because we were only supposed to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
I wound up being there for a total of 16 days.
and yeah, I remember that. What So now you're back in Arkansas in Nowheresville up there, and and how long did it take you to where you can actually start moving around and doing stuff?
When I got back to Arkansas, I immediately went into physical therapy at Baxter Regional Hospital in Mountain Home. And within the first week, they had me moving, but it was very slow.
Yeah, that's
My
it.
left side, this hand I can move fast. This one, that's about it. So, but to be able to, if you saw me in public right now, I mean, I've had a stroke.
Yeah.
Anybody that would see me in public would not know, because I am constantly analyzing everything I do.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
of course.
you have to, when you can't feel half of your body, you have to plan out every step. You got to calculate, is your foot properly, is your weight in the right, position? Are you going to fall? If you are going to fall, are you going to hit your head on anything? Because, you don't want to hurt your head again.
Yeah, that would be
So,
bad. That
so there's a fatigue thing now where I have to think about everything, but then at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, I'm done. Eight
yeah.
o'clock, usually at 8 o'clock, my brain turns off.
So you had the physical issues,
Yeah.
and we made a mention earlier about remembering things. How long
Yeah.
did it take for your mind to come back?
My mind right now feels like it did before, as far as everyday feeling. I don't have the fog. I always try to describe it as, it's like tunnel vision. You can only focus on what's directly in front of you. Oh, squirrel, type thing.
Yeah.
And you're looking down the tunnel and there's a fog rolling in towards you. You can't think clearly. You got to search for your words. My speech never got messed up, but I still have to search for my words sometimes when I get fatigued.
Oh no, no doubt, no doubt. No, you're doing great. 2 years out. I mean, it's fantastic. So
It's incredible.
after you sat there and convalesced for so long, and
2 months. She just popped her
then
head in and told me 2 months.
so all right,
In
that's good.
hospital.
So after you just sat around being your pseudo vegetable for a little while, uh, you decided to get back into the mix of things. Why?
I gotta have something to do to keep the mind occupied.
Uh-huh. Have you
You
tried to
sit
do
at-
anything? Have you tried to do anything paranormal?
No, haven't
No.
tried to do anything paranormal. I haven't. I've tried to do a few things filming wise, but that requires so much thinking, plus the calculations. Am I standing right? Plus, it's almost impossible to hold a camera still.
Yeah, yeah. She-
And she just reminded me, the only thing that I've done paranormal, the reason why I own this house is because I know there's activity here.
yeah.
Last year, probably around September, we have a little dog. She probably weighs 5 pounds, a little Chihuahua. Barks at the drop of a hat for no reason. Well, now I know why. We have a ghost cat that runs through our house. We don't have any cats. I physically turn to yell at the dog because certain sounds trigger my brain right now. I have a serious audio issue. And I went to yell at her, and I don't like to yell at her because it scares her. And when I went to yell at the dog running past the door, I seen the cat that she was chasing, and there's not a cat in this house. And most people would say, "Well, it's because you've had head trauma." I've had hallucinations because of this, and it was not anything like that.
Yeah. You get to hallucinate something more interesting than a cat.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I don't need another trip hazard.
So you started getting back into doing production.
Yeah, I consider getting back full time into production, but that I have been involved in a couple of productions here lately that have fallen through. Creative differences, people with attitudes, not realizing they're taking advantage of people. Give them money to do something, and then the whole production just cancels. I'm fighting with another one now, trying to get my money back on it.
You
There's
never
a
get your money
TV,
back. It's always
yeah,
gone.
there's a former TV show on Animal Planet that involves things with large feet. I'm not going to say the name of the show. I'm not going to name the individual because he owes me quite a bit of money. That we started a production on another show that the network didn't want.
Yeah.
And gave him quite a bit of money and a contract, and that contract was supposed to have been fulfilled 5 years ago now.
Wow.
The things always move real slow, and then when it's time to go, they want it like now. It's like you've been pulling my chain for years, and now you're acting like you need everything yesterday. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, Hollywood, as far as movies and TV production, I'm just going to say it's highly overrated. It's everything you see on social media, and not everything you see on social media is true. But
Oh,
all of the
what?
negative, yeah, all of the negative about film and TV behind the scenes is 100% accurate.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I had a couple ideas, and they're like, oh, you should pursue this, and I'm like, I'm not that type of person. I can't. I'm an idea guy. I can do that. I may even be willing to jump in and do something, but I can't do any of that stuff. And I don't really want to because it bores the crap out of me. The production. I can't help it. I can't help it. Editing and all that stuff, I just fall asleep. Might as well read a manual on something. I'm out. I can't do it.
It's kind of like watching 4 video screens from an investigation for the next 10 hours to see if you caught a dust orb or not. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, and when it comes down to things like that, like I could do that. I could sit there and I could sit in a room and have nothing going on forever, and my attention there because there's stuff going on. But when it comes down to after the fact, okay, now I'm going to make a small clip of the investigation and throw this part and this part and this part and put it together, and so I could share it with the world. I never could do that.
It gets very, very tedious. It becomes a headache, and it's probably the reason why I had my stroke. One of the reasons why I had my stroke.
See,
I wasn't healthy.
I wouldn't have had a stroke on vacation. I would have had a stroke in front of the computer.
Well, I guess we're lucky it didn't happen, but yeah. Yeah, you would think vacation would be relaxing, and I was just so excited to be there. Pop.
So, what would you say on this side of everything? Would you say that you've learned?
Life is too short to get caught up in drama.
Oh, amen to that.
And you've probably noticed I've started pulling away from social media because it's nothing but drama. I post funny things to keep a humor going, to keep my mind in a good space, and to keep other people in a good mood that are going through the same thing. Because I'll tell you what, when you have a head injury, not just an outside head injury, but an internal head injury, depression is very hard to deal with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes you post things that you're doing your content creating, and you're posting things on your Facebook, and I'm like, what is wrong with his head? And I'm like, oh yeah, stroke. That's right.
Believe it or not, I started being a content creator because I started doing silly stuff about tacos. I don't
Yeah,
know if you saw that or not. And all of
tacos.
a sudden, Facebook and Meta said, "Hey, you're getting a lot of traffic. We want to give you money."
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm posting taco pictures. Yeah.
I tried to get Taco Bell to be a sponsor, but they never answered me. So
Terrible. I'm so mad at Taco Bell because they got rid of the taco salad. Um, still angry about that. Eating taco salad since 1980s, and then they took them away like some. Yeah, it's terrible. I got words that I shouldn't say, and out in to the billions of people about Taco Bell and their loss of taco salad. Anyhow, I'm not bitter. Yes, I am.
It's the
we'll
first
get you
time I've
some
ever heard you
therapy.
say that you've eaten any kind of salad that I can
Well,
think of.
well, see, it's all a burger can be a salad because if you put lettuce on it, it's a salad.
And tomato.
You're not wrong now that I think about it. Yeah.
He does have a point, doesn't he?
That's the point. This is a salad. I like it. I like it.
I like it a lot.
No, I know that some people have. I've seen it. I'm an X-ray tech, and I've seen people have strokes. And although I haven't seen any images of your stroke, uh, anytime that you have blood enough to have that much of a infarct left behind, it leaves a mark. And I see some people are like, well, forget it all. But you decided that you wanted to uh, throw your hat back in the ring and start doing things. Although it's not paranormal, you're still liking paranormal related stuff.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah. So what
is that your main
go ahead.
is that your main genre then? Paranormal or cryptids or
I will
what's your main?
I will work on any project if I think the storyline is going to interest people. But my personal preference is cryptozoology, ghost, and UFOs.
Okay.
I grew up liking that stuff. I've always liked it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all of it is 100% factual and true, but I have an interest in it and I want to share it with other people.
Okay.
Well, have you thought about doing your own project and just putting it out on, say, YouTube or something like that?
Well, I actually started one. I've been the current title of it is Legends and Lore. And my goal was to do stories about things that people don't hear about every day in Arkansas. And then I was like, I could do this for all 50 states. That would keep me busy for a while. And then I got interviewed on PBS, also a folklorist for the White River Monster. And PBS wanted to interview me, and ever since that happened, everything that I was working on my own project kind of got pushed to the side, and I've been doing everybody else's.
Yeah.
I have that as a note in here. I'm going to get back to my stuff.
Yeah.
Because if it's my stuff, I don't have to deal with drama of other people pretending to be something that they're not.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
I know what I'm capable of.
Have you found any, let's say, authors that you could take their words and put them into action or film or whatever?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Thought about that angle.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Alan Lowe, they used to run Spirit Seekers. I don't know if his team's still around or not. He's written a couple of books, and I've actually talked to him about getting him involved in it was several years ago. He's probably forgotten about it. I'm surprised I even remember it. He's written a book on a lot of the different things just in the state of Arkansas. And I'm like, well, who better to have than somebody that actually knows the knowledge? Especially now with me, in 2 days, I might forget that we even had this conversation.
Me
So
too.
don't hold me to anything I say.
No, I don't have any brain trauma that I know of, but I forget things all the time. So I don't have any excuse. At least you have an excuse.
Well, 1,200 pages of documentation. I can prove I'm crazy.
And it's signed too, right?
It is signed.
And it's
Now,
signed. There
granted,
you
it's
go.
from a goofball out in Las Vegas, but we won't even go there.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, to be honest, I'm lucky to be alive. The healthcare system in Las Vegas is not very good. I'm not even going to name the hospital,
Mm.
because in this, everybody's suing everybody over everything anymore. I'm just not even going to step in that. But the only thing they did for me was stick me in a bed because I had good insurance, and then every day they would wheel me and stick my head in a CT scanner, and then they would wheel me back to the bed.
Well, you say that, but if you were sitting in front of your computer in your home and you would have had this happen, would you still be here today?
No, I wouldn't.
See, so you're in the right place to go through the terrible thing. So, and I'm glad that you're still around. So that's pretty cool.
Me too.
You too.
Yeah.
I'm sure the wifey is as well. And
So,
And I
so
can
you-
tell
I'm-
you,
on most days.
yeah.
so on your
On the days I
experience,
remember what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
gotcha. On your, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in the areas, the paranormal areas that you're really interested in? Is it only in Arkansas or various states or?
Oh, I've been all over the country. I've racked up, just in Arkansas, I've racked up thousands of miles going to try to help people deal with what they're deeming as a haunting, and come to find out it's a tree limb hitting the window every time the wind blows.
And several of those. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see that a lot too.
Okay.
Trees are scary ever since poltergeist.
But what about private things that you've maybe investigated in, not linked to a private home or anything like that? Have you had some fun stuff that you've done? Have you had some experiences with that?
Well, it wasn't paranormal. I've been to several of the same public places. Well, public if you're permitted access, that Adrian has been to.
Okay.
Down in the town of Boonville. I don't think we can still name the location.
No, I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
One of
We've been there.
one of these days, Pam will get to go.
Yeah, soon.
Yes.
Hey, Adrian, do you remember on that particular building? Do you remember the area above the elevators?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, that stairway. The second time I was in that building, I was leading some people up to show them. I walked through an entity. I didn't see the entity.
On the sixth floor, that little area, you walk through a ghost.
Going up the stairs.
Oh, going up the stairs. How weird. And
Mhm.
did you go? Ew, that feels icky.
It is the sensation was very familiar to now what my stroke felt like. Half
Really?
of my body went completely numb for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
Wow.
the craziest thing. And that was probably 2009, 2010.
Well, Tina had something go through her body, and it did the same thing to her for a while. But that was on the second floor. So yeah, that. But yeah, I don't like it when you go through entities or they go through you. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah,
I had to leave the building and reset myself. And while I reset myself, another person on my team, or that had joined the team for that particular investigation, got possessed while I was out of the building. which all the cool stuff always happens when I'm not around. I don't know if it was my presence or, just my attitude toward things, but things would be happening to people. And if I walked through the door, it would instantly stop every time.
Yeah. Well, after I went through my thing in Summerfield, I'm kind of the same way too. It's like I push energy back. I think I got such a wall up that everything recoils from me. So,
Yep, that's a good way to word that.
that there are some that you could be a ghost magnet, but you could be turned around and be the magnet that pushes them away, instead of draws them to you.
And there's people, and there's locations that are haunted, and there's even people, and then you wonder, is the person really haunted, or are they having a side effect from a medication?
Yeah. Well,
there's so many things now. Right now I'm currently studying the brain. I'm fascinated because of what I'm still capable of doing, even though I've had all this stuff go on in my head, and then I've got many friends around the world now that have had strokes that are in a support group, and they can't do what I can do. They're still struggling. Some of them are surpassed me, but there's a lot of people mad at me because I can do this, and this is my affected hand.
Yeah. No, I get that.
With the since the stroke, if you can think before and after, did the stroke change anything, your abilities to experience things or enhance them, diminish them? Can you recollect that?
It pretty much, it's funny that you asked that, because I started paranormal research because see if I can pronounce the word correctly. I always considered myself a prescient. And I use that word because I hate the word psychic. Because when you tell people that you know things are going to happen before they happen, they treat you differently.
Yes,
and the first question I'm always asked, don't ask it, is what's tomorrow's lottery numbers? Because that's not how it works.
Correct.
So I started doing psychic research. I started dabbling in remote viewing, and I'm very good at that, by the way.
Okay.
Haven't done that in a while. But since the stroke, because everything got cluttered up in my head, it basically nullified everything. And in the past 5 to 6 months, I've noticed a change on how I perceive things. Because the last year and a half, I haven't had any dreams, and now all of a sudden I can dream again. And I used to do a lot of experiments on MySpace. I would tell people I would do a reading for them, but I would do it like Edgar Casey. You give me your name, you tell me what zip code you're in, and I'm going to go to bed tonight, and I'm going to focus just on that information. And then when I get up tomorrow, I'm going to give you, my results. The most intriguing one I ever did was a gentleman, and I don't even remember where he was at in the country, gave me his name, gave me his zip code, so I knew where to focus my energy. When I went to bed that night, all I was dreaming about was a man in the military sitting around a campfire, and there was a couple of guys. Something happened, and that person had to leave, and they had to leave immediately. So when I got up the next morning, I told this guy this, and he started freaking out. He was stationed in Panama back in mid to late 80s. And his father had a medical procedure, and he received the wrong blood and almost died. And he had gotten notified while he was in Panama, and he had to leave immediately to get back to the States. He's like, how the hell do you know this? It's like, I can't explain it. That's why I'm doing the research. I'm trying to find out patterns.
You tried to do astral projection there for a little while too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, as a child I was able to do that at will.
Yeah.
Since I've gotten older, that kind of It's almost like there's stops in our system as we get older. We can't do the cool things anymore. Because as a kid, I could run out into the yard middle of the night and I could jump 40 foot in the air and float around and then come back down to the ground.
Yeah, I don't think I've had a come apart, but I've never left my body. Not fully left my. That might be different. I don't know. I know we're running out of time. I want to say that on the chat here from Montrose, Arkansas, Robert Prevost, he said, Jason, you need to contact me. So that's a good point and lead in to this. I don't know how much work you want to do or what projects you might want to get involved in, but if somebody had something they wanted to float your direction, how would they get a hold of you?
Mansfield.media@gmail.com or at yahoo.com.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can do it through Facebook. I used to have a Twitter. I think I closed that down. Might have a TikTok. I've got a YouTube channel called Half Brain Adventures because I'm traveling. I'm seeing the world from a disabled perspective, and I'm starting to put together these travel videos that are going to start hitting YouTube to let people know it's okay to get off your couch. It doesn't matter if you're just going to the post office. Get up, get out, be active, and do something.
Yes. Well, we could take you on a Bigfoot hunt because you'd be great bait.
That would be something that we could take bets on. Which of you? I think Adrian would be the better bait. What do you think, Pam?
Oh, I think we could hold him down long enough for sure.
I've always cracked the joke, living out here in the woods, that if a bear came out, I would just be the one running in circles because I can't control the one side.
Oh my
I have
gosh.
to lay down and play dead.
Okay, so I wrote this down. So you said mansfield.media.com?
Mansfield.media@gmail.com.
Oh, at gmail.com. Okay. Got it.
I used to have a production website, but because of all the drama from one of the last movies that I worked on and people not getting their things that they were supposed to get after the film got dumped on me when I'm paralyzed and can't move and don't have any money coming in. So how am I supposed to do, I closed everything down. I got tired of dealing with it. I was being taken advantage of, and I wasn't going to let that happen anymore.
Maybe I'll send you all the videos I've made over the years to give you something to do. Make sense out of this. Make sense out of this.
When I made the comment before about taking a book or whatever, hey, Robert, if you're still watching, you were the person I was referring to. So Robert Prevost, because you made some comments about crypto and
I did get your links in the chat too for everybody.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So no,
I think it's great.
I know with our producer popping in and out, I never know when she's going to come in and say, okay, you're done, click. And so I wanted to make sure that we had that contact information out there. And so now we can just BS until she comes in and says, you're done, click.
This has been really interesting tonight.
It is fascinating.
So outside of production, what are you doing for fun?
For fun right now, nothing.
Nothing. Sitting around.
Basically, I work 10 hours a day, and there's an hour commute each direction. So I'm gone 12 hours a day. And by the time I get home, I'm an engineer during the day, using my brain all day long. I go home and I collapse. So you're lucky you got me tonight. I prepared for this.
Yay.
Well, thank you for joining
She just said she's ready to close us out.
No, Sean, no.
Well, I think your story is incredible. And the fact that just 2 years into this, you are this far ahead of the game, from where a lot of people are. That's great. I think it's fabulous. And
well, that's all in the mindset.
And that's kind of why I wanted you on the show, because you went through something devastating. And here you are, you're crawling back, you're going to make something out of it, you're going to do it. You're taking stuff that you've loved to do. You started from here, now you're here, Yeah, you might have dropped down a little bit, but now you're going to work your way back up. So that's
Yep.
great.
It's incredible.
That's
All right,
awesome,
we're
awesome
gonna
story.
wrap this up. And who do we got next week? What is this? Mo.
Oh, Mo, no Mo. Mo next week. I will be chatting with a friend of mine who lives in Colorado.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Portland.
Colorado, but she does a lot of stuff here in Missouri, and it's Rebecca Pittman. She's an author. She's an artist, a mom, a wife, a good friend of mine, and just a great person. I think everybody's going to be really interested in hearing her stories about some of the stories that she's actually written. She's got quite a few books.
Right on.
So
Cool.
Rebecca Pittman.
Right on. We will enjoy that. We'll see everybody then. And
Stick
bye.
around, Jason.
Yeah, Jason, it was great to meet you.
Well, good to meet you guys. You guys keep